If you're tired of getting price shopped, inconsistent bookings, and constantly having to go on a price war with other DJs, then you're in the right place. Because in the next 15 minutes, I'm going to show you the roadmap to making $20,000 a month that you can copy as a private events DJ. And it doesn't matter if you're just starting out or have been in the game for many years, this is the newest and highest leverage way to get bookings in 2025. Now I'm going to break down exactly what I call a digital booking ecosystem. It's the same system that I used to help my client Davin generate $8,000 in bookings in 1 week, which led him to a record month of $28,000. Look, and I know you're probably wondering, who am I to talk about helping you with your business? And by no means am I claiming to be a better DJ than you, nor am I going to tell you what to do with your business. But I can confidently say that I damn sure know how to market, because I've spent countless of hours and thousands of dollars figuring out what works. So at the very least, if you stay till the end of this video, you'll walk away having learned a proven strategy you can implement for free. Now, for context about my professional background, I served as head of marketing for a high 8-figure company. And while leading the department, I managed big budget campaigns, which even set 2 Guinness World Records at one of the events. So I've seen how the big brands play. And before that, I was also a DJ myself in both the nightlife and private event scene. So having been in this industry, I've witnessed and experienced firsthand exactly where you guys are coming from. Now, this video is catered to the DJs that's looking to scale their private events business. So if that's not you, you're in the wrong place. Cool, so let's get started. Here's what you first have to understand. For years, you've been told to live on word-of-mouth referrals, fight it out on third-party platforms, and drop thousands on expos. And yes, although that can work, it makes it really hard to scale. You end up having to deal with volatility because referrals are never guaranteed. You get price shopped because it's hard to differentiate yourself. And using this old school method, it's really hard to track metrics, which makes it incredibly difficult to find out what you need to fix, only leaving you confused on what is it that's not working. And so the bottom line is you were never in full control of your client acquisition process and you didn't even know it. Or well, maybe you did, but you've been putting it off. And now you got these new marketing agencies that show up who, by the way, don't understand the DJ business and say, just run ads and you'll get bookings. But the thing is, ads only solve the traffic part of the problem. And you need more than traffic. You need trust and you need brand positioning. And most importantly, you need a connected system that's as frictionless as possible that turns strangers into clients. And so that's where the digital booking ecosystem comes in. So what is a digital booking ecosystem and how do you build one? Now, in simple terms, a digital booking ecosystem is a connected and trackable online system that helps the right leads find you, trust you, and book you. And it's built from 5 parts. First, you have the offer, which is to de-commoditize what you sell by how you sell it. Second, you need the right content, which is to nurture leads and have them pre-sold before they even hop on a call with you. And third, you need the right platforms to properly funnel strangers into clients. Then you have the right sales process, which is to make it as frictionless as possible. And finally, you have the right delivery, which is to extend the momentum you have once you do get booked. Now, of course, the goal of the ecosystem is to make you a lot of money, but it's also designed to scale, and here's how. See, most DJs take a tiny deposit upfront, then have to wait months or even a year until the event happens to get paid. And the thing is that kills your cash flow, and it's really hard to grow when you have money sitting in contracts that you can't collect. And so instead, the goal is to make as much money upfront as possible from the bookings you get, not months or a year out, but inside the first 30 days. Because when you structure it this way, you create what we call client finance acquisition. And that means that the cash you collect in the first 30 days is more than what it costs you to actually get a client, which literally means that you're getting paid to get new customers. And because you're profitable that fast, you can reinvest back into getting more clients without really ever having to use your own money. And so at that point, hitting $20,000 a month is no longer about how to get it. The real question becomes, how do I fulfill it? And so if that sounds good to you, let's break down the ecosystem. Now, the first part of an ecosystem is the offer. And like I mentioned, it's about de-commoditizing what you sell. And so why do we need to do that? Well, think about how many DJs have popped up just within the last couple of years. Yeah, quite a lot. And so competition is at its peak. And the thing is, everyone is claiming that they can do the same thing. And because of this, to your potential clients, you all sound the same. And that's a problem because there's no longer a consequence to not go with you, which is why you get ghosted. And most DJs felt like they're writing an equipment rental list. Packages that just list 2 JBL speakers, 8 premium uplights, 6 hours of service, 2 wireless mics. But the thing is, your clients don't wake up thinking, you know what we need for our event? We need 2 JBL speakers, 2 wireless mics, and 8 uplights. They wake up just thinking, I want a DJ that's gonna make my party amazing and stress-free. And that's really what's valuable to them. And so the first thing you want to fix is to stop selling the specifications and technicalities and sell the experience. Now, if a competitor can easily compete just by matching based on similar equipment specs, you've pretty much commoditized yourself. Because with that, you're competing on who has more speakers or who charges less per hour, which is where the price war happens. So instead of listing commodity specifications, you need to focus on selling service-based benefits. For example, instead of 8 premium uplights, you can just say professional lighting design. And instead of saying 6 hours of service, you can say complete evening entertainment from cocktail to last dance. And so you get the point, then just apply this to other things in your package. And so now you might be saying, well, yeah, but isn't that what every DJ is gonna claim, just like what you said? Yes, and that's where content comes in, which is our second part of our ecosystem. See, when we fixed your offer, the differentiator stopped being about equipment and hours, and it started being about you and your company. And this simple shift gives you leverage because it's no longer a comparison of who has more speakers or who will play more hours. It becomes, who do I trust to run my party? And when you shift into that frame, you finally get to charge what you're worth. And it's no longer going to be for the hours that you stand behind the booth, but for the experience that you create and the confidence that you will deliver, which is worth a lot more. Now, here's where content comes in, because you can have the best offer in the world, but if your leads don't believe that you can pull it off, then they're not going to book you. And the right content gives you the chance to build trust and prove it. Now, you want to have a really good content strategy, because doing so will build credibility and trust so well that by the time they reach out, they're already sold on working with you. And there are 3 types of content that you need to focus on: awareness content, nurture content, and conversion content. First is your awareness content, and this is about getting complete strangers to even know you exist. It's about grabbing attention and sparking curiosity, making someone stop scrolling and think, who is this DJ? And here's where partnership posts, trends, and even memes work well. They get you in front of people who had no idea they'd even care about a DJ until they saw you. And the second is nurture content. This is where you educate and build trust. Once they've noticed you, this is where you want to show why choosing the right DJ matters and why you're the one who can deliver. With nurture content, you can do educational reels, behind the scenes content, and even showcase your live sets. These posts prove that you don't just talk about creating an experience, but that you actually do it. And the third and last is conversion content, which is actually the most important, because this is where you're going to guide them towards the next step, which is booking you. And so it's the bridge between interest and action. And for this, I want you to think about client testimonials, pin posts with booking info, or simple check availability on IG stories. The whole goal here is clarity, to show them how to work with you. And when you mix all 3 together, this is where you turn strangers into warm leads, and warm leads will show up pre-sold. And with the right pieces of content, your closure rate will increase and booking calls will stop feeling like uphill battles. Now you might be thinking, all right, Lumi, I get the content part, but where do I actually post this? And that's where our third part of the ecosystem comes in, which is going to be the right platforms. All right, so now let's talk about platforms, because knowing which ones to focus on is super important. See, I think most DJs make the mistake of trying to be everywhere: TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, wedding platforms, websites. And while being omnipresent is great once you've already been established, when you're starting out online, this is the fastest way to burn out. The last thing you want to be is mediocre everywhere instead of dominant somewhere. So here's what I recommend you focus on when you first build your ecosystem. It's the 3 platforms that I think will move the needle the furthest, and that's Instagram, YouTube, and a website or landing page. And the key here is understanding that each one serves a different purpose. So let's dive into it. The first is your Instagram, which is going to be your main ecosystem hub. Now, the reason why I recommend using Instagram to be the center of your ecosystem is because it does it all. It lets you start conversation in the DMs, its algorithm pushes your content out to new people, and it allows you to nurture followers at the same time. Plus, you're able to link out to your website or landing page and your YouTube from your bio, which is super visible. So think of Instagram as your interactive business cards, because strangers can land there, see your work, see your personality, see your client results, and you automatically start building trust. Now, next is YouTube, which is going to be your authority builder. Now, YouTube is an amazing platform for building deeper relationships with your audience. You can do a more complete behind the scene videos, you can do educational breakdowns, you can even do long format content that makes people feel like they already know you before they even reach out. And so this is where you show the more personal and intimate side of your business. And when you do this the right way, YouTube makes people feel, wow, I feel like I've already hung out and talked to the DJ already. And this builds onto the differentiator that we talked to in the earlier part of this video. You're no longer just another DJ, you're their DJ. Now, for your website and landing page, this is going to be your conversion hub. Now, you need this not just for looks, but because it adds a layer of professionalism and credibility, especially when you're trying to get your leads onto the next step of the booking process. This is where you're going to guide them to check availability, request pricing, and even book a consultation call with you. And so to wrap it all up, Instagram gets the attention, YouTube builds the trust, and your website closes the loop with action. And so the bottom line is, use each platform for its purpose and don't stretch yourself too thin. Remember, quality followers who end up actually booking you are 100 times more important than vanity metrics. And once you've got people already moving through your platforms, the next step is to make the buying process as frictionless as possible. And yep, this is where the 4th part of the ecosystem will come in, which is going to be your sales process. Now, in your sales process, your goal is to minimize as much objections as possible. Because if you've built your ecosystem right, your content has already pre-sold them. Now, here's the mistake that most DJs make. They think selling is just pitching. And so they jump on a call and immediately start talking about their equipment, their experience, and their packages. But when you do this, you sound like every other DJ. And remember, when you sound like everyone else, the only thing that leads compare you on is price. Now, your sales process should feel like consulting rather than convincing. And remember, since we have our ecosystem, by the time someone contacts you, they've already seen your content, they know what you do, and they know you can deliver results. And so at this point, they just want to see if you're the right fit for their event. And so this is what you want to focus on. Ask the vibe that they're going for. Ask them what their guest list looks like, their must-play songs, and even their timeline. Essentially, in the call, you're focused on helping them plan their perfect event. And so the framework is really simple. First, you have the discovery where you ask them these questions, then you understand their vision, then you present your solutions, you handle questions, and then you book the date. Now, I want to heavily emphasize that intent matters and that I trust you to use sales the right way. In sales, your job should be to guide prospects to making the best decision possible for them. And if that decision is booking you, then by all means, lead them there with confidence. But never push someone into a yes if you know that you're not the right fit for them. Because at that point, that's not sales and that's manipulation. And I hope that every single one of you watching here isn't just a good DJ, but a good person that has the right intentions. Now, by the way, couples can smell desperation, or what's known as commission breath. The second they sense it, trust disappears. So the mindset is this: you're not there to pressure them into a sale, you're there to help them get closer to their goals. So you want to guide them, consult them, and help them solve their problems. And when you approach it that way, not only do you close more bookings, but you also build a reputation where people want to work with you even more, and they would want to refer you. And once they book, this is where delivery becomes crucial. Because not only do we want to meet expectations, but we want to over-deliver with our service. Because what happens after the sale determines whether this is just going to be a one-gig thing or the beginning to even more bookings. And so we get to the last part of our ecosystem, which is your delivery. Now, most DJs think when they get the booking, delivery just means, you know what, play the gig, do a good job, go home. But what if delivery isn't the end of the process, but the beginning of the next cycle? Because think about it, at every gig, you're in front of so many potential future clients. People who will get married, people who will throw anniversaries, and even host corporate parties. And that's a room full of opportunities that you need to take advantage of. Now, your delivery has 3 goals. First, you want to turn every client into a case study. And so you want to capture highlights, testimonials, and stories that you can repurpose into content. Just make sure you talk about this before the event and get the clear from your client. And second, you want to turn every event into a referral engine. And to do this, you want to over-deliver and then follow up to ask for a referral. You can even mention to them that a referral would be so much appreciated. And to go above and beyond, you can export your crate and turn it into a playlist or a thank you mix. That way your clients can always go back to the soundtrack of their special night. And trust me, they'll be super happy to give you a testimonial because of this. Now, third and last, you want to turn every vendor into a potential partner. So during the event, you want to make sure you network with them. Share the content that you have, tag them in the social media posts that you make, and send them appreciation notes. The more you invest into vendor relationships, the more likely that they'll also refer you. And so here's the mindset shift, that every client is an opportunity for a case study, and that every event is content that you can generate to nurture future leads. And lastly, that every vendor is a potential new connection that you can create a mutually benefiting partnership with. And when you stack that on top of everything else in your ecosystem, your delivery is no longer about checking the box. This becomes a leverage point for scale because that one booking you got could turn into 5 more without you having to invest more marketing dollars. And that's it. Now that I've showed you what to do, it's time for you to take action and implement this into your own business. See, I've been helping DJs build these ecosystems and I've noticed something interesting. The ones who succeeded aren't necessarily the most talented DJs. They're the ones who's willing to take action consistently. Because the thing is, strategy without implementation is just entertainment. And look, I'm not here to pitch you on working with me because that's not my style. Now, if you're watching this and you're thinking, okay, this makes sense, but I have no idea where to start, well, you're not alone, because building an ecosystem that actually works can be overwhelming when you're doing it yourself. Now, I work with a small group of DJs who are serious about implementing this stuff because I genuinely enjoy helping people and working in this industry. But I'm pretty selective about who I work with, and I only help DJs who are committed to their growth. Now, if you're curious to see what that looks like, feel free to send me a DM on Instagram at @itsjosephLumi, and I'd love to see how I can help you. Maybe you were a fit, maybe you were not, but either way, you'll walk with some clarity on what's your next step. And so that concludes this video. I try to pack as much value as possible in such a short time. Now, if you found this valuable and you want to learn more, or you want to find more of my strategies, hit that subscribe button and follow me on Instagram at @itsjosephLumi. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.